Hi, everyone. Randy Fleischer here, music director at the Youngstown Symphony Orchestra. Welcome to Project 2 of the Youngstown Symphony Orchestra's virtual concert hall. Now, I want to start with a question. What do the following songs or pieces have in common? Do You Love Me? Monster Mash? Kung Fu Fighting? Blinded Me with Science? I Beg Your Pardon, I Never Promised You a Rose Garden? Carmina Burana by Carl Orff? Pachelbel Canon? Or Dance Suite by Paul Valjean. Do, 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 ding! They're all one-hit wonders. Composer Paul Valjean was a bassoon student at the Eastman School of Music, and he wrote this suite while he was a student there. It's kind of a charming, way cool, almost Danny Elfman, Beetlejuicy, Edward Scissorhandy kind of a sound. In fact, he was writing music like that long before Danny Elfman was. But at any rate, here's an interesting fact about him. He graduates with a degree in bassoon, goes on to dance with the Royal Danish Ballet and choreograph for that company. So it's a little bizarre that he was a bassoon major in college and such an accomplished dancer. Nevertheless, that was the case with composer-dancer Paul Valjean. We're going to feature the Youngstown Symphony Orchestra Quintet. Kathleen Schaefer on flute, Cynthia Watson on oboe, Nicholas Thompson on clarinet, Arlie Savage on bassoon, Heather Johnson on French horn, playing Gavotte from Dance Suite by Paul Valjean. The next piece features our wonderful principal oboe, who you just heard, Cynthia Watson. The piece is called Péruvienne from Évocation by a French composer by the name of Henri Tomasi. Now, each movement of this piece represents a woman from a different country. So this one happens to be representing a woman from Peru. Henri Tomasi was a 20th century French composer. And apparently, legend has it, as a very, very young boy, maybe 5, 6 years old, maybe even younger, his mother took him to see a performance of Puccini's La Bohème. Now, I must tell you, I was so swept away the first time I heard La Bohème. I was a sophomore at Oberlin. We did it my sophomore year at Oberlin. It was a few years ago. So I can imagine why Tomasi would be so taken by that piece that he would want to devote his life to music. As a young composer, he won the Prix de Rome in 1927, and he became one of the most well-known French radio conductors. This is a whole time period in pop classical culture that's completely gone. Back in the 1930s, 1940s, 1950s, 60s, even well into the 1970s, major radio stations all over Europe and to some extent here in the States had their own symphony orchestra. In fact, some of these radio symphonies still exist to this day. And Henri Tomasi was one of the most famous French radio symphony conductors. Later on, went on to become music director of Opera Monte Carlo. And when he was alive, it's interesting to note that many of the other composers, writing important works around Europe, were writing in what we call 12-tone or serial technique. it's kind of hard to describe. It was more of a mathematic formula in a way to construct music than the normal do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do system that had been used for a long time. And Tomasi was just sort of not really into that style. In fact, there's a wonderful quote where he said, "I can't stand systems and sectarianism. I write for the public at large." Nicholas Thompson is the principal clarinet of the Youngstown Symphony Orchestra. Incredible young musician, phenomenal player. He's probably in his 20s, but he looks like he's 16. Of course, to me, anybody under the age of 30 looks like they're 16. At any rate, I digress. The piece he's going to play is by a Hungarian clarinetist and composer by the name of Bela Kovács. It's called Homage a Kodály, from a larger work of 9 short pieces called Homage in general, and each of the 9 pieces is an homage to a certain other composer. Homage à J.S. Bach, homage à Debussy, and this one is homage to Kodály. Now, Kodály was a very important Hungarian composer and educator. Wrote a lot of wonderful music, but anybody who studied music education has learned the Kodály method. So this guy was really insightful and very important. Bela Kovács, the composer of this work, was principal clarinet of the Hungarian State Opera Orchestra in Budapest. Now, there's a little connection to me personally, because that's the orchestra that did the video for the PBS broadcast of my show, Rocktopia. So I've had the honor of conducting that orchestra. One other little connection is my mother-in-law, her maiden name was Kovács. So I know it's a common name in Hungary, but I'm just wondering if maybe this composer and I are distant cousins or something. At any rate, the work is called Homage a Kodály. The composer is Bela Kovács. Let's listen to Nick Thompson play. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. I'm Randy Fleischer, the music director of the Youngstown Symphony Orchestra. We'll be back with more product. Stay safe, wash your hand 1,000 times a day, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much.